Words of advice? Don't underestimate Harley Quinn. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we're here to talk about the times that Harley proved just how mighty, brilliant, and worthy of her popularity she was, as we count down the top 10 superheroes who lost to Harley Quinn. Yeah, she's beaten a surprising amount of powerful heroes and villains alike. Don't believe me? After this list, you will. Let's get into it. Number 10. Captain Carrot. These two fought it out in the two-parter Convergence Harley Quinn. After all, it would take a melding of multiversal realities in order for these two to even be able to fight one another, as Captain Carrot hails from the alternate Earth of Earth 26. While this fight might not seem like anything to celebrate, it should be noted that Captain Carrot is actually pretty powerful. He possesses one of the most epic powers, I think, of all time, that of cartoon physics. I don't know about you, but being able to defy the law of physics that govern matter and molecules in our world sounds pretty powerful to me. While the physical kind of fight came to a stalemate, in the end it would appear as though Harley won without really meaning to when she offered Captain Carrot snacks from her friend Poison Ivy's garden. In other words, those carrots are probably all kinds of toxic. Although Harley also joined Captain Carrot in a quick snack, the poison would not actually affect her, as thanks to Ivy she has total immunity. Captain Carrot, however, looked like he wasn't doing great. He was like, ugh, poisonous garden. Number 9. Damian Wayne. Harley Quinn made quick work of Damian Wayne, aka Robin, in the Harley Quinn animated series. Here Harley was looking to make a name for herself as a supervillain and leader of her own criminal gang, striking out on her own. She wanted to take Joker's spot as Batman's top nemesis, and even managed to steal Batman's Batmobile in hopes of baiting him out. Unfortunately for Harley, it wasn't Bats who answered the call, but instead Bats Jr., aka Damian Wayne. Harley was very disappointed and refused to even really fight Damian, despite him claiming that he was a more than worthy nemesis for her, being trained by birth by the League of Assassins. Harley defeated him far too easily, hanging him by his cape on a meat hook in the warehouse that they were in. Although Damian of course later embellished the story and insisted that Harley and he were official nemeses. Also, I love Damian Wayne in the Harley Quinn animated series. I think it's my favorite incarnation of Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne fans, please don't hate me. I mean that with the utmost respect. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more lists like it, more Harley lists, yes, let's have it happen, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Also comment below with your favorite Harley issues or Harley stories. Number 8. Black Canary. Although Black Canary ultimately prevents the fight from coming to a close in the Injustice universe, Harley is definitely about to win when this happens, and would have been crowned victor. I mean, after all, she is mid-swing with her hammer just coming down almost on Black Canary's head there. However, Black Canary at the moment of her demise halts the fight as she's about to be sick to her stomach. Harley, recognizing Black Canary's morning sickness as a symptom of her being pregnant, decides to call the whole thing off, refusing to fight someone who is pregnant due to her own history. Although a moment ago Harley was ready to smash Black Canary's head in with her giant hammer, now the two women bond over their shared experience. It turns out that while Black Canary is pregnant with the now deceased Green Arrow's child, Harley was once pregnant and gave birth to the Joker's child in secret. Honestly, this is a really fun fight that also just turns into a really heartfelt moment, which is kind of great. Number 7. Birds of Prey. Never mind just beating Black Canary, at one point Harley Quinn manages to evade the entire Birds of Prey team, including Renee Montoya in the Black Label limited series, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. This comic gives us an alternate story for what would happen with their team up in comparison to the DCEU film. Instead of tracking down a diamond for Black Mask so that she can avoid him killing her, here Harley is aiming to take down her enemies in Gotham and ends up teaming up with the Birds of Prey to do so. But it turns out initially, neither they or the GCPD want Harley in Gotham, as she's a liability. After her brief team up with the Birds of Prey in issue number 1, she ends up captured by Renee Montoya, but gives her and the birds the slip in issue number 2, escaping custody with a secret ally by tunneling out of a restaurant bathroom. This iteration of the team includes Black Canary, Huntress, and Cassandra Cain, who we learn is actually filling in for Barbara Gordon, who's out with a broken leg. Also, if you saw the Birds of Prey film, and regardless of how you felt about it, this is a comic you should read. It's really funny, it's really great. I think it's really fun. Everything Black Label is usually pretty good. Usually. Number 6. Shazam. Another hero who Harley ends up taking on and surprisingly defeating an injustice. We are talking about Shazam. I know, pretty impressive. Harley ends up fighting Shazam as both are on opposite sides of the superhero conflict, with Shazzy siding with Supes and Harl's allying herself with Batman. The two fight in year 5, but also fought previously in year 3, with Harley taking full advantage of Shazam's sweet naivete, tossing her hammer at him, which it turned out was actually a bomb. That time around, the hammer explodes in his face, knocking him out. Number 5. Green Lantern. There was some interference on this fight, which as you may have guessed by now usually happens with Harley, but regardless, Harley was definitely in the process of winning when the interference really helped her to crush her enemy, who in this case was Green Lantern Hal Jordan. That's right, Harley won in a cosmic arm wrestling match against Hal. In Harley's Little Black Book in issue number 2, the two characters square off when Harley, after being outbid for a genuine Green Lantern ring online, instead gets her hands on something better, a black and red lantern ring. How fitting. It is a combined ring formed from both colors of lanterns. In the end, red and black lantern Harley defeats Hal only to have her ring taken. Hal knocked out and is of course kind of forced to don his Green Lantern ring in order to help save the day. Another fun team up for the books, or the Little Black Book, I suppose I should say. Number 4. Batman. Harley Quinn has beaten Batman on more than one occasion, but for me one of her most iconic victory moments comes from the Batman animated series, when Harley successfully traps Batman for the Joker and is planning to basically waste him. Of course, although Harley almost successfully ends Bat's life, he manages to prey on her insecurities regarding her relationship with the Joker. He convinces Harley that the Joker will be upset with her if she just wastes him without contacting him or telling him anything about it. So she calls him up, and then when he arrives, it's revealed that Batman was actually right. In provoking a fight between the two villains, Batman is able to escape, but in this scenario, if Joker hadn't been involved, Harley would have likely been completely successful in executing her Puddin's plan. This victory not only proves Harley's might next to Joker, but also is a heartbreaking one, as it illustrates how harmful her relationship with the Joker is and how its toxicity also succeeds in often holding her brilliance and her individualism hostage. Number 3. Wonder Woman. Harley's Little Black Book really is a treat of a mini team-up series. If you're a Harley fan and you haven't read this one yet, or at least dipped your toe in, I highly recommend it. Back in issue number 1 of the series, Harley manages to defeat Wonder Woman by catching her unawares and successfully kidnapping her. Of course, Harley actually is aiming to do this for Wonder Woman's own good, and is in fact a big fan of hers as we find out. So it isn't a malicious defeat at all. Still though, using sleeping gas, Harley manages to incapacitate Wonder Woman and swaps clothes with her in an attempt to impersonate her. In the end, this results in a glorious team up of the two badass ladies fighting side by side. Number 2. Superman. We don't really know how, and she didn't do it alone, but in the Black Label Limited series, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, in issue number 1, we open up on Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn being served by Superman. Together they seem to have made him their prisoner by threatening the life of Jimmy Olsen, and Superman is waiting on them in return for his whereabouts so that he can run off and save Jimmy. Of course, it all turns out that this is part of a dream, but it's a fun sequence and could actually be based on real events in this Black Label reality. Black Label comics typically happen outside of continuity, just FYI. Whether or not this was real though, Harley also took on Supes in a boxing match and won in Harley's Little Black Book in the second to last issue in issue 5. Number 1. The Trinity. If you thought the Man of Steel was too much for Harley Quinn to take on, obviously you would be wrong. And you'd actually be super wrong about that, as Harley has not only taken on Superman multiple times, but also in one fight managed to take on Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman all in one go. The holy trinity of DC supers, if you will. This all went down in Heroes in Crisis, when the superhero trio was trying to track Harley down as they believed she was behind the mass murder that went down at the Sanctuary. Harley made quick work of the team, using Batman's contingency plans even against his allies, and the team's love and affection for one another to her advantage. What are some of your favorite Harley Quinn fights? Would you like to learn more about some of the fiercest supervillains that Harley has also taken on and defeated? Which hero were you the most surprised to learn could be beaten by Harley Quinn? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you as always to stay nerdy, YouTube.